All right, I'm gonna react to Asmongold reacting to modern gaming depresses me, and we're just gonna see how on point this is. What are the pros? What are the cons? See what it has in store.
Watch this. Modern gaming depresses me. This is a video that came out 9 months ago, apparently. I guess that's probably about the same time Diablo Immortal came out. And let's see what this is. Here we go.
We want to make sure we hear our players, make changes where we can based on that feedback, make sure the game is ready for launch, and then even beyond launch.
What a load of bullshit. Fix! 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 Fix!
Oh my god!
Fix! 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 Treat us like a damn fiddle!
Jesus! What an
You
intro.
know, I really didn't want to come back with another negative video. That's all I've kind of done since I started uploading. But I feel like something needs to be said about this. Modern gaming sucks at the minute, and it has done for a while, but in my opinion this is the worst state we've ever seen the industry in.
Is it the worst state we've ever seen the industry in? No, I don't think so. I think that there were a lot of games that were literal garbage that was made for like the normal Nintendo, like before Super Nintendo.
No offense to Asmon on this take, but if you have to reach back in history years and years and years and years, like decades, literally decades, to try to scrounge up a comparison of something that's worse, it means it's pretty bad. And also, in conjunction with that, it also brings into question, is that because they were bad, or is that because they're bad in comparison to anything in modern day? I mean, Super Mario World used to be super popular and you know, the bee's knees on the Super Nintendo, right? But if you compare that to games that are coming out now, you know, other than nostalgia, and we're just talking about just straight up 1-to-1 ratio, like comparing things, I, I don't know if you can say that it's better other than it's nostalgic and it's well done, and that's a good game. Um, so I don't know if this is the strongest point he's made so far, but we'll continue.
Like, man, there were a lot of bad games. I think that, like, really, again, whenever you say modern gaming is bad, what you're really talking about is modern AAA gaming.
In terms of greed, unfinished products, lies, just really everything. It's just...
Yeah, it's crazy though, because like there's been so many of these videos, and there's a lot of people that think this. So like whether you think this is like it's true or not.
I mean, it's a multifaceted issue. I mean, partly I think the majority of gamers are growing up, and I think that that does play a role into it. But also, I think that it's important to keep in mind that because of the practices within games, certain things are prioritized more than others. Like, for example, Overwatch 2. In Overwatch 2, it launched and it basically came out with everything that Overwatch 1 had. And the main feature that kind of was the two-part, you know, to Overwatch 2 was the PvE content. And they said that they're not going to have it out until the next year. And right now it's, you know, we're coming up on February here soon. So, and it's still not out. Nothing is, you know, really being shown. There's not like a video documentary of it or some sort of content that they're putting out for it. But they do have all the skins and they're releasing all that new stuff. And I think that it's because as time shifts, um, the economic incentive for these game developing companies as the top of the pyramid gets heavier than the bottom, you start to lose that connection, whereas in the past it was more about creating a good experience. But that's just my take so far.
Like, you got to really say, like, man, it's a bit of a situation whenever you have people that are just farming out these videos about how modern gaming sucks, and it doesn't even really matter, like, if it's a big channel or not, the video's popular. It's because a lot of fucking people believe it. That's why.
Went out the window, and this is getting ridiculous in my opinion. My enthusiasm for any game coming out in the future is at rock bottom. I don't feel any excitement towards any game at the minute, and I can't tell you how sad that is to say as someone that's played games for like 13 years. To go on Steam, look at the store page, and just see a bunch of games, half of which I feel like are just going to end up being shit and unfinished.
Let's see what these games are.
13 years.
Let's look.
To go on Steam, look at the store.
Death Stranding. I don't know if that game's good or not. I heard it's not really that good. Lords of the Fallen. I saw.
Well, when it really comes down to it, Death Stranding was not nearly as successful as it was supposed to be. It was basically a walking simulator. Lords of the Fallen is a $2 ripoff of Dark Souls. Destiny 2 has been played to death. Death's Door is an indie game, and that's just from what I can see right here. Of course, he's gonna bring up Elden Ring, and yeah, of course, that's a good game, but it's an outlier amongst the field of shit.
Oh, this one looked cool.
Page and just see a bunch of games.
Mortal Online 2. I mean, like, this game is good if you want to lose all your shit. Let's see what else is in here. Elden Ring, there it is. Yeah, look at that.
Half of which I feel like are just going to end up being shit and unfinished.
Yeah, not
and
all of them
the other half
are
that just
bad.
don't spark my interest is just kind of miserable, to be honest.
This is actually the reason why I wanted to play that Forspoken game today. Is because people like Forspoken is modern gaming. And I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna play the fucking game. I'm gonna see, is this really true? Or is it some bullshit?
Now, this is something that I can say a little bit on. I have seen some people streaming this game, including Asmongold himself, last night. And I can personally tell you that the movement, really, really cool. It's a really cool movement. The combat, it kind of looks like kind of like a faster, more polished version of like Control. But those are none of the problems that people have with the game. The problems that people are having with the game, from what I'm understanding, is the dialogue. And this has nothing to do with the fact that it's a female, that it doesn't matter at all. But it's basically moody teenager, I'm going to do what I want, mom, screw you type of dialogue. I mean, and not that directly, not like exactly that, but along those lines. If you're intellectually capable more than like a snail, you can kind of put two and two together on what I mean here. It's nothing that's like blatantly bad or like Velma level kind of stuff. It's more like just like, yeah, right, girl power. Like, it's just, yeah, okay. Just, you don't need to. Why are you doing that? It's cringe as fuck. Anyways, let's continue.
Because like everybody always says that these things are true, right? But like I want to see them and figure it out. Does that make sense? Rather than like have somebody else dictate it to me. Yeah, play it and find out. That's the same thing I did with like fucking the Lord of the Rings thing, the Rings of Power. Like, and to be honest, like the show, it has like very good is like highs and lows. Like,
it's like more sexualized and it doesn't really grasp the same things that Tolkien came out with originally. So these things are just like, it's like a cousin to an actual Tolkien piece of media, in my opinion. It's not, doesn't feel like it, you know? Like, for example, with The Witcher. The Witcher didn't feel entirely like The Witcher because of some of the decisions they made for diversity and inclusion. That's not bad to have, though, but you need to have it make fucking sense. So taking like a completely like northern Scandinavian, type of folklore book series and then, changing it massively, or like the same thing that they did with the dwarves, for, there's like little parts of lore in the Tolkien universe, for example, that are kind of shunned, looked down upon, and kind of like stepped on in the pursuit of virtue signaling to the woke mob. And if you don't want to acknowledge that, that's fine. I don't think everyone should be bitching about the problems all the time. However, to go ahead and try to make the claim that, yeah, there's ups and there's downs, it's like, are the ups only there because it's got a lot of fucking money and the CGI isn't like extremely horrible and it's cool to see fight scenes regardless, and you're going to classify that as an up, but then the entire story, premise, and delineation from the actual original material you're just going to completely ignore? I don't I think that that's a little bit more than just, a couple of lows. Let's continue.
Like, in my opinion, I think Elrond and Durin, that whole story arc so far, I really like it. I'm sorry, but I really like both of those characters. I think they're fucking great. Galadriel is kind of a bitch. But, like, that's something totally different.
I want you to just listen to the last sentence he just said. But that's something totally different. How is the main character of the series being a bitch and not really cohesively fitting within the universe as well as she should, based upon who she is in the lore of the Tolkien universe? How is that beside the point on the quality of the content?
Elrond is decent, yeah. And so, like, but it's not as simple as, like, it's just bad. I didn't finish the show. I haven't yet either. That's why I haven't come out with a review for it.
About 6 months ago, I uploaded a video about Call of Duty Vanguard, a game which I had no expectations for.
Okay.
But in that video, I basically just talked about how I felt like the game was boring and unfinished, monotonous, and a lot of other general terms you may have heard being passed around with modern games.
Okay.
But unfortunately, this sentiment just applies to like every game released at the minute, especially Halo Infinite and Battlefield 2042, two games which...
I was really impressed at how bad Battlefield 2042 was. Like, I almost think, like, Jeff Keighley, for the next Game Awards, he should have, like, a couple of different categories for, like, most buggy game, biggest disappointment, biggest dog shit, dumbest fucking, dumbest dialogue, and then have everybody, like, have somebody like that go up and, like, give out awards for that. Yeah, biggest fuck up. Yeah, biggest gaming fuck up.
Had a lot of hype
I gotta say, I agree completely with Asmon on that.
around them and ended up just being unfinished, unplayable in some instances. And
biggest lie. Like, take different clips from developers saying different things and then contrast them with what happened in the actual game. Like, which one was the biggest fucking complete 180 degrees lie?
That's a real shame. And like, I know some random Northern Irish dude making a video on his 30 subscriber YouTube channel isn't gonna change the world or anything, but
No.
I just wanted to talk about my thoughts, I guess, because this is kind of a rough period to be in if you're a fan of video games, and I feel like we need to do something about this shit because this is just not right. I feel like a good place to start would probably be the most recent consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, both of which I feel like are just underwhelming, to be honest.
They are definitely underwhelming. The thing is, like, the PlayStation 2 was groundbreaking. Massively fucking groundbreaking. Because the PlayStation 2 could play DVDs. And DVDs back then was like VR is now. It was even bigger than VR. Like, DVDs, that was like, bro, you had a DVD? That's like space station stuff, you know? Like, because it's a disc. And DVD is so big, yeah, that was huge. And this is in like 2000. I was like, when did fucking PlayStation come out? Like 1999, 2000, something like that. It was a long 2001. It was a long fucking time ago. And so, and then it could also play music. And then the Xbox came out and it had online gameplay. And the GameCube came out and it had. So the normal discs were this big and the GameCube discs were this big. So, like, GameCube was just changing shit up, right? Like, they were just, you know, like, innovating like fucking crazy. And then, yeah, and it actually was not a cube. It was a square. Yeah, it was not even a cube. So, anyway, then you had the next generation, Xbox 360. What did that do? Well, it sets your house on fire. So, that's cool. PlayStation 3 played, I think, Blu-ray. So, PlayStation 3 was built in with, like, next-gen software and technology. So that was amazing. And then on top of that, you had the Wii, which was a complete fucking paradigm shift for all gaming. Where, like, you had people going up. Like, the Wii was the first game console that my dad ever got. And it's the only one, by the way. Because he thought, oh, Wii Sports, I can exercise at home. Wii was the first game console that actually appealed to an audience of people that was not gamers. But, and then, like, even the Wii U was marketed horribly. And, you know, everybody knows that. One of the worst selling consoles of all time, rivaling Sega Saturn. But it was a handheld console. And back then, that was phenomenal. And the Switch is handheld. Because, like, you see what he said. He said Xbox and he said PlayStation. He didn't say Switch. Because Switch is still a Nintendo. Still reinventing the game. Still doing things different. Still doing some crazy different stuff. You know, they have portable games. They have games you got to stand up and play. And they also shut down Smash tournaments. They're doing shit nobody else is doing. So, point is that, like, back in the day, these gaming consoles had these different value adds that they could provide. And now, for a lot of gamers, people already get those value adds from different places. So, like, how can a gaming console bring something new to the table now whenever, like, everybody has a DVD player, everybody has, like, a Blu-ray player, people have, you know, these other things. So that's why. I think that's why the gaming consoles nowadays don't have as much value as they used to. Like, PlayStation 2, man, like, that was an entertainment console. That wasn't just a video game machine. PlayStation 2 is the GOAT. Greatest gaming console of all time.
Now, I don't own a Series X, but I have a PS5, and it's an okay console. It gets the job done.
Yeah, it's got like 3 games.
But, like, comparing the leap from PS4 to PS5 to the PS2 to the PS3, there is no contest in terms of which one was a bigger generational gap. Here's an example: GTA San Andreas on the PS2, GTA 4 on the PS3. Which one of these looks better? Now let's look.
I feel like PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, the graphics were definitely better. But, like, I still think that, like, from Nintendo 64 to GameCube, like, that era jump was the biggest one we've had.
Got a PS4 game to a PS5 game. Doesn't this just kind of look the same to you? I don't know. but I don't see a massive gap here. Sure, the PS5 game looks better, but
Yeah, it does.
is it that much better?
I think that graphics, as I said, man, like graphics, like a game with like really, really good graphics is great for a year. A game with really, really great gameplay is great forever.
Is it 500?
I agree with that statement that Asmon just made. I just think because of the way that games were prioritized on like the work, the man hours that are going into them, I feel like more of their time was spent making the game good. So the graphics were only a limitation kind of with the tech of the time. And due to the fact that, you know, graphics are less important than gameplay. I mean, there's people who still go back and play, you know, Dark Souls 1. Even though it's remastered, it still kind of looks like shit. But they play it because it's a good game. You understand that? So it's like, but not all companies are trying to make good games anymore. Most game companies have gotten so corporate that they're trying to make money rather than a good game. They're trying to make a service that you pay into that gives them more money than for the amount of work that they have to do. Putting out a full game, perfectly fixed, no Cyberpunk 2077 stuff, on launch, and then having an idea for rolling out DLC, like picture Halo 3's DLC, where, you know, you had the packs and it had the stuff. It was like you had something to look forward to. Even though the expansion packs weren't extremely large, it was just a couple of multiplayer maps. But you knew that when you went in there, you could rely on it. Because it wasn't about how much money can we get out of the person for this. It's how can we sell this, make a profit, and make a good game. Now it's how can we make profit. The good game part comes secondary to that. The only reason it comes secondary to that is because of their reputations on the line. So, like, for instance, I guarantee you less people are going to pre-order the new Cyberpunk, whatever it's called, DLC, because of the way that Cyberpunk was released. That's the, like, catch-22 that these companies have to deal with. But what they do is then they go ahead, they put some money into another, you know, avenue, try to, like Halo, try to do the TV series. That didn't work. CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, they did the TV series with Edge Runners. That did really well and, like, massively skyrocketed the amount of players, completely changed how people saw the game because when they came back, the bugs had been fixed. So, I mean, you can do that kind of stuff to kind of win, to earn back face, but it's different. And another thing to keep in mind is CD Projekt Red just was a fuck up. It wasn't because of money. Whereas like Halo, for like Halo Infinite or Overwatch 2, these games came out with the bare minimum, but their store worked and their all the things you could buy for the multiplayer, that was all polished. However, the games were buggy or incomplete or both. That's kind of the issue here. Let's continue.
Dollars and sold out all around the world better? I don't think so. Sure, ray tracing and frame rate might be a big difference. I personally don't care for either of those, aside from maybe 60 FPS, which is basically the norm now anyway. But really, guys, is this what the fucking PS5 is? Like, that fucking minor?
Yeah, I think the PlayStation 5, the truth is, I don't think we really needed the PlayStation 5. Like, I don't know, I feel like the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, like, they weren't that big. Like, you're right. Like, absolutely, I think so.
I am content with my
Personally.
purchase of my PS5, but that's because I've never owned a PlayStation console before, and it gives me a good
And
opportunity
I'm a PC
to play
gamer,
the
too.
exclusives in the best way I can. I'm not emulating all that shit on PC.
Yeah.
But if I had owned a PS4 and I went to this, I wouldn't really think this is a big change.
No, it's really not. I mean, I use my PS4 more than my PS5.
Let me tell you, the Xbox Series X is a fucking disaster in comparison. This shit is not even a new console. This is just a better Xbox One. And it costs $500, and this is Xbox's big generational leap. You guys couldn't be asked to make a new fucking menu for your console, and you expect me to buy this shit?
I think that Xbox is really having a hard time creating value with their console because Xbox is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft's main market is PC. And like Microsoft is actually doing something great, which is not having any Xbox exclusives, right? Like you can play Halo on the PC, first time for that. That's fucking amazing. I don't know what Microsoft can do to make the Xbox more appealing, but right now it's just like, I could not imagine buying an Xbox. And this comes as somebody who, like, I was an Xbox fanboy. Huge. Like, I mean, Halo 1, Halo 2. The first new console I got out of that generation was a Xbox 360.
Really?
I think that the reason why consoles exist are for children. You know, I think like a grown adult has the money to purchase a gaming PC. Not every child can have a gaming PC. If they do, that's cool, and they can get it with a little bit better up-res and better graphics, maybe some higher frame rates, and that's all cool and good and dandy. However, I think that children tend kids. I think that they tend not to have oh well, my PC's out of date. Let me drop $4,000. I don't think that that's a reality for a lot of kids, and so I think that it's kind of off-putting in a way to go down that path because it's like it's going to be more expensive. It's going to be able to do more things, and you are going to like it, but or do you just want to go and get your $500 Chromebook and then have a console for like less than it would be to have one gaming PC? It's kind of a give and take on that. So I think that consoles are kind of marketed towards kids. That's just my opinion. At least with Xbox. PlayStation, they're on their own because it doesn't have the cross-pollination between PC. So it's like, I don't think that they're as much like that, but I do think that Xbox is selling consoles to more kids than adults, just generally. And that's just an idea. I mean, I'm not saying that's the overall end-all, be-all or anything. It's just, let's think logically here kind of thing.
If your biggest selling point of your fucking modern day video game console is that you can play games released on a console in 2005, am I going to dump $500 on it, or am I just going to buy the fucking 360 for like 30 off a charity shop and just play all the games that way? I might be an addict to Halo 3, but I'm not paying $500 just to play it at 120 frames per second, Microsoft. I need something.
I think so. I think he's right about this, but I also think that Xbox sales are probably this. I'm not a fucking Microsoft analyst, okay? But I would assume Xbox sales are probably cannibalized the most by PCs. I think that more people make the decision to buy a PC than an Xbox than people make a decision to buy a PC than a PS5 or a PC versus a Switch.
New every so often. At the very least, Sony's offering some exclusives.
Bro, like this level's so boring, man. Like for real. Like there's like no secondary attacks with this chopper here. Like, that's not a Pelican, is it? I'm pretty sure it's not. It's a new one. Like, that's so boring. Like, this is like a WoW vehicle quest where, like, you just fly around and it's a Falcon. Yeah, I don't remember. But anyway, so, yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Just as a side note here, um, the level he's referring to right here, um, I always thought of it as more of like a chill level. Because it's like you go, you fly around, you can kind of, if you don't like fly in super fast, you can pick all the guys off from far away, not even get touched, and have zero damage to your vehicle or anything, and literally just go through all of the flying parts like that. I kind of saw it as more of like a chill level. I don't think that it's necessarily boring. I think it might be boring visually when you like I don't give a shit about what's going on the screen, but when you're playing and you just went through like crazy level, invisible elites with swords and all this other shit, it's good to throw in one of these, especially with like a linear type campaign format, in my opinion. So I don't think you should look down upon it.
God
It's
of
a
War
sightseeing
Ragnarok's
trip,
on
yeah.
the way, and we know that a couple other games
so
are in development.
boring.
Microsoft has nothing. They bet all their money on Halo Infinite, and
Yeah, they did.
without spoiling much of the video, that did not work out very well. You guys need to step your game up, because this shit is very disappointing. I remember being excited for this series.
I think that the Xbox Game Pass is unironically goated, and I also think that people that downplay it and devalue it only do so in the lens of what do you call it, of AAA games. And actually Xbox themselves set the record straight. Xbox Game Pass tweet. Let me see if I see this. So this is what. So thank God, Xbox actually set the record straight with this. This is like earlier this year. And so after years of hype, Xbox Game Pass burnout is here. And Xbox Game Pass themselves went and said, tell me you limit yourself to AAA games without telling me you limit yourself to only AAA games. And the fact is that this was fucking true, man. Absolutely. I wish more companies would call this shit out. Yeah. The PlayStation Plus catalog needs another 300 titles. Here, I'm not sure what's in the PlayStation Plus catalog. Tell me yes or no for these titles. God of War 1. God of War 1 and 2. Yes. Ratchet and Clank 1. Yes, okay, good. Jack and Daxter. 1 and 2. Devil May Cry 3. Devil May Cry 3 and 1. I don't know, man. It seems pretty good to me. Those are all the games I used to play. Sly Cooper? Yeah. Well, what about Sly Cooper? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not bad. Yeah, it doesn't seem not bad to me.
X whenever I was
Those are the
on
ones
my
I wanna play.
Xbox One, hadn't moved to PC yet, and I just remember being gradually more and more disappointed until I eventually just said, fuck it, I'm not buying this, and I just moved to PC, shelled out 1,000 or 2, and yeah, that's expensive. I get most people can't afford that, but you gotta give people who can a better console than this.
I think that consoles are, as I said, I think that the more that this is what I think is going to happen with like gaming and what's going to happen with like optimization is that you're going to get to the point to where like graphics become photorealistic, and like the gap from like am I crazy, but like from 4K to 8K, that doesn't really matter to me. Like unless you're watching it on an 85-inch TV, it's like you don't really notice that. So like you're going to hit that. And I think that after that, you're going to be talking about optimization and money saving. And at a certain point, PCs, a lot of people buy PCs. Now, consoles are still popular because they're a very cheap and easy way to solve all your gaming problems. And they also work as entertainment machines. PlayStation 2, again, invented that. And I do think that you're still always going to have people that want to use consoles, especially for like whenever people come over. But in my opinion, I think in 10 years, if you took off the exclusives from these consoles, like I think exclusives keep these consoles alive. It's like life support for the consoles.
You can say all you like about your console being able to run 5,000 gigafucks per second, but if I have nothing to play on it, I don't care. And I think most people won't care unless they just play fucking FIFA every year.
Yeah.
But
Which, by the way, is a lot of people. There are a lot of people that just play FIFA every year.
It's a console without a...
I think that is like, and this is just going to be a hot take maybe of mine, but I think that sports games, bro, dude, they are so just like, I don't know, man. All of the stuff that I don't want to deal with in sports are now in those sports games. And like if I played like Madden, 2007 or whatever, or 2004 on the Nintendo 64, I would have just as much fun, if not more. It's the things that they've added into them, like dealing with rosters and selling people and, buying other athletes, and it's just like, I don't know. It's blah to me. I don't like it. I think it's kind of trash. But that's just my opinion. Hot take as it is.
its games. This is where I get more negative. I'm gonna try dial down the swearing a bit, but god damn it, dude, could any games come out that aren't unfinished disasters?
He should have gotten closer. I tell you, man, I played Halo 1. Like, you can, like, two-tap a hunter if you get close to him in, like, Halo 1, Halo 2. I don't know what the hell he was doing. He needed to get in there, like, right in between, like, those armor plates.
Two games that come to my head at the minute, Elden Ring and Dying Light 2, they
Reach
both
Against
released
Yourself?
finished products. I am sure they're both great games, but they're getting praise for being finished games. Is that how far we've sunken?
Yeah, that's where we're at now, guys. Is like, so basically, if the game is finished, that's a W. Like, imagine releasing a game that's finished. What the fuck?
A game deserves praise for being finished?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I get COVID existed, but you gotta have higher expectations than that. I think the biggest example of unfinished games can be traced to the biggest three games released last year: Halo Infinite, Call of Duty Vanguard, and Battlefield 2042. In my opinion, three boring as hell unfinished games. What a surprise. I think most people agree that...
I think that with a lot of these games, especially now with the with like these games trying to be esports, etc. I think that too many let me think of a way to put this. Like, too many of these like FPSs are trying to be esports like that. Yeah, forcing that is bad. Like, I wish that, remember, like, what I used to like about Battlefield is that it was like Halo on a much larger scale, where you could get in tanks, vehicles, anything like that. It was like Call of Duty, but instead of the scope being this, it was this. And like, I just wish they would make that, like, that experience better.
Battlefield was a disaster.
I think that the things that they need to fix with Battlefield is just more destruction. I mean, I feel like Battlefield 4, 3 and 4, I believe it was, just were so much fun. I remember playing those on Xbox Live with the little shitty headset, sitting in my room talking with my friend, in his place, doing the same thing, just going ahead and having little battles in the Battlefield. It was fun, and I don't know, I miss it. I like the modern warfare aesthetic, and then with the destructibility and like the I forgot what it was called, like Cataclysm or whatever events. Like I remember you could take down that giant tower that was in like the like on the shoreline. I don't know if it was in like what city it was in, but it's all fictional anyways. But the point is that like the whole like giant skyscraper would come down and it would like collapse into this like bay of like where like it was like there was like water outside of the place, but it wasn't like super deep, so it like literally added this like torn up, destructed like uh, rubble where you could fight in that too, and there'd be like a little command point in there if I remember correctly, and it was cool and it was fun, it was unique, and I think that it had something rich in it, and it had something like good to give. Um, I really, after the reviews, I didn't look into the newest one, but I've only heard bad things like this guy's about to say right now.
It's basically at this point a joke, but the fact that people seriously defend this stuff and say, oh no, because in like 3 years it'll be finished. It's really? Really, dude?
I mean, as a WoW player, I mean, I understand that.
Imagine if in like 2006 a game came out and it wasn't finished. It got shit on. Everyone hated it.
Really good.
Look at Sonic 06. That game isn't finished. Nobody likes it.
I felt like Sonic Frontiers was liked though. Like a lot of people like Sonic Frontiers. I'm actually planning on playing that.
No offense to Asmongold here, but that's kind of null and void due to the fact that this video was made 9 months ago. And Sonic Frontiers was not released yet, so the creator of this video could not have known how Sonic turned out. But I think the point that he's making is still valid. Like, all of the evidence is pointing towards it being a bad game. The fact that it was like an alright, pretty okay game, that's good, but it's not how it looked from his point chronologically in time.
Like, once I knock a few other games out, I'm going to play Sonic Frontiers and see what it's like. Yeah, I know he said Sonic 6.
What if Sonic 06 came out today in the exact same state? Would you all just go, oh no, because they can just patch all this stuff in the future?
I think that if you release a game, the truth is, if a game gets released and it has a lot of bugs and the bugs are quickly patched out, I'm not really going to give a fuck that much. And like, maybe this makes me like a bad gamer or something, but that's the honest truth. Like, I'm just not really going to give a fuck.
Doesn't excuse the fact that
yeah, it's not a big deal
in this state, does it? Does the promise of patches really justify to you the complete shell of a video game that was released and the lies spewed out by the devs before it came out?
I think it's also value proposition. So, like, for example, like, New World is a great example with this. New World released with more bugs than features. But the truth is that I still enjoyed the game, and the value proposition the game provided to me was a positive net effect. Like, I got more out of it than the bugs took out of it, took out of the enjoyment. So I kept playing the game. With other games, that was not the case. Like with Diablo Immortal, I thought Diablo Immortal was just not a very good game. So like with some of the buggy things, with like the bigger boss fights, whenever this happened, I was like, you know what? This game's just not for me. I'm done playing it.
Like, are you guys that pathetic? I'm sorry, that's the only word I can use to describe it. I've made an entire video about Vanguard, so I'm not going to tread on my opinions too much. But yeah, I kind of just agree with everything I said in that video. My opinions haven't changed. It's boring and it's unfinished. Enough to say about that. But Halo Infinite, that's the one that hurts me the most. Because this really should have been Halo's big return to the spotlight.
Well, the reason why it wasn't, I know this is going to make people mad again, but like, I'm going to let y'all know, like, this is not why people play Halo, is to run around and kite, 5 hunters with fuel rod cannons around and shoot them. Bro, people play Halo for multiplayer nowadays. The campaign is great, and Doom has shown that campaigns can matter, but I'm sorry, but you should have fucking focused on that multiplayer. And I guarantee you, man, if this game had shipped with a BR, an extraction shooter, and a full fucking multiplayer forge that was ready on release instead of the campaign, it would be in a much better state than it is today. And I don't give a fuck how many Halo purists say that I'm wrong, say it's a bad take or anything. That is a fucking fact. And I've seen that with so many different games recently. It sucks.
This was the game that had the
Okay, I'm gonna have to interject there just for a second. Well, yes and no. Yes, because that you're correct overall. However, they couldn't even put co-op into the game with an extra year. Meaning there was some internal problems, major status. So all of the things you listed, which was like 3 or 4 additional things, Asmon, no offense, that's a bit steep. They couldn't even get co-op in. And that's literally just making it so that 2 people can be in the same world. I mean that's a lot less than BR maps. BR and then BR maps and you know all that other shit. It's like it is. Okay? And you might say the campaign took a long time. It's like I mean, yes and no. Like yes it did, but they obviously put more time into the multiplayer. That was their goal already. You just got done talking about how these games are made to be in the scope of, esports. And you're completely right. Like exactly right. Um, there's way more put into it. The problem is that it's not maps and map variety and guns and new types of guns and new special abilities and cool Forge stuff. Which Forge, Jesus Christ, that's a long time to coming too. Just by the time we finally have it, but it's like it's not all of those things, and custom matches with all the Forge maps. It's not. It's couple of maps, store, small campaign, open world, makes you feel like it's longer. That's the entire thing. So if you really look at where the most effort went into, it was their store, man. I'm being honest. And I'm not saying more than everything added up together, but more than any one individual part, in my opinion. There is more armor types, and there's a new progression system, and all this other shit, and, so many skins your head would spin. It's like all of that in there is focus on PvP, yes, but in a monetized way. That's the issue. Is they're these companies are more for money and economic returns than they are about game longevity. And this is even going to the extent of, in some, in some, uh, situations with certain companies, as far as like degrading the respect and trust that customers have, in the companies themselves because it's so bad. So just keep that in mind.
potential since 3,
It
in
did.
my opinion, and they just completely blundered it. The game is not finished. There is no joke here. It's literally just not finished, and it's not glitchy. It works, but there's no content here, and it's just so obvious this was just put out to
Halo
make a
Reach?
quick
No, I know that.
buck, and not actually because they really cared about the fans that much. And for a
The reason, well, how can you know that it's Halo Reach? Is because Spartans were interacting with each other in the story. If you knew anything about the story of Halo, Master Chief is like one of the only Spartans by the time that Halo 1 comes out, and so that's like he's like Spartan 117. Like what about Spartan 203 and like all the other fucking Spartans? So like there are so like you can easily tell that it's Halo Reach because of just that.
Oh, also there's lore implications there, like a lot of them died on Reach, and there are remainders from the earlier gens, but that's why there's more like 4 and 5 gens. But yeah, It's just some nerdy lore stuff. You can look up Installation 00. It's a great YouTube channel. Talks all about that type of stuff. I highly, highly recommend it if you're into Halo lore.
Halo 5 has other Spartans? Yes, I know that. And I know that they added more of them, but in a general fucking sense, I would guarantee you it's not Halo 5 or not Halo Infinite.
Franchise with such a legacy and all the build up and everything, just to see it come out as a complete joke. A beta being charged full price essentially. Oh, well, so sorry, it's not being charged full price because of free to play and all that shit, but it's just it shouldn't even be free to play. It should be a game. I should pay money for it and I should get what I bought. I shouldn't have to pass off all my complaints of a game just because it's free to play. Oh, you got it for free, so you can't really complain. I would have bought it for full price, and if I had, I would have been so angry. It would have been daylight robbery if I had bought it for full price.
I think that people need to stop buying these games. It's like if you can't afford this game and you can't get the opportunity to like just buy the game and like not give a fuck if the game's not that great, you should not spend money on a game full price. You should not do that. Like wait for reviews, don't pre-order. And I'm not saying give it a day, I'm saying give it 2 weeks. I know it's hard. And I get it. But that's the best decision that you can make if you want to make sure you don't waste your fucking money, is you give it 2 weeks.
Plus, and it's all because of this live service model games keep pushing nowadays. The idea that you can buy a game unfinished and it will be patched over time. And sure, you might get more content over time than you did at launch, but really this should have been here day one. Look at
I'm not gonna roast games as a live service. Final Fantasy XIV is a game at a live service. Dragonflight is games as a live service. Both games are great. I don't think games as a live service is fundamentally bad. I think that some people just use games as a live service as an excuse to release an unfinished product.
Halo 2, that game was developed in like a year basically, yet Bungie still manages to make it a finished game because they cared that much about the product. 343 had 6 years and they had to cut Forge, co-op campaign, and it's still released unfinished. Like, come on dude. You gotta show some amount of respect to your fans by at least delivering some expectations instead of just lowering them immensely to make the blow of an unfinished game that less painful.
That's impressive they released 4 Halo titles in 6 years. That's fucking ridiculous.
The main takeaway from live service is that you're not getting more content over time.
And also that those were the best ones. It's not like those were bad games, like those were the good ones.
You're hoping that the devs add all the content they have.
Yeah, and that just tells you that should speak volumes to you about where effort is, where the money is going, because now Halo is a larger franchise and has more money behind it. If you told the developers during Halo 2's development timeline to go ahead and also make a TV series on Paramount at the same fucking time as their game, that they're also going to try as a new live service, they'd go, get the fuck out of here. We don't have the manpower or the money to do that. They would laugh in your face. But these companies now have that type of money because they've built this up over so many years. You know, there's so many different avenues that it's, been working on for so long. But then what that does is it makes corporate people come in, buy their way into the top, shaking hands, gets up into the top of that business, and then runs it like how a meat factory handles cows is how they handle their customers. And it's just through the grinder. And it's just, how much money can we get from them? This thing fucked up. All right, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to pay you good to fucking make this next one. If it's not good, you're fired and I'm going to fuck your life. It's like, and these guys at the top, they just play. It's, It's a different world. It's a very, very different world. And it's because the more money equals the more chance of attracting people with greed. The more chance of people attracting people, the more chance that you have of attracting people with greed, the more chance you have of getting greedy people, the more chance you have greedy people who want money, the more of the chance that you're going to have things that are fucked and cut down and shittier. We're going to pay our employees $15 an hour to $18 an hour to make this game. Whereas in the past, they were making that same amount of money, but it's been, 20 years, 15 years since, 10, 15 years since that all that stuff went down. And now they're still getting this wage, and it's like the quality of these people are dropping more and more with every year. First, second, most people who are actually talented don't really want to go into these companies because of how bad they're managed. And that's why you have all of these little indie games and shit like FromSoft. And I'm not saying FromSoft is an indie company, but it kind of started out as one. It was a little group, and they slowly got better and better and better and better and better and better and better. It's just, but they're not corporatized. And then you look at something that's corporatized, like, I don't know, Call of Duty Vanguard or whatever, which one's out now. I forget which one, Modern Warfare. You look at it and you see the monetization in it. You see it. It's like when you look at skin and all the veins are popping out. That's all just the economic funds that have like inflamed to the point where they're protruding bumps on the skin. Like it's bad, and it's filtering into everything. So, anyways, let's continue.
At the cut before launch to the game during its lifespan, and that's all there is to it. Live services are nothing more than an excuse, a shady promise made by devs that they'll fix your game over time, and if they don't, well, they'll just run away with your money.
I want to know what game it was that sent him over the edge. Which one was it? Which one made him like? Which time did he log into the game and see a new battle pass and a patch notes about how they're not going to fix a bug? Like, which one that sent him over the fucking edge? Yeah, Shadowlands, Halo Infinite. I think it probably was Halo Infinite. Yep.
And they'll never see it again.
Because, like, you think about it in his mind, right? Is like, he says, fuck Halo Infinite. I'm sick of this fucking game. I hate this fucking game. I'm going to go back and play Reach because that's whenever the game was good again. Like, I guarantee you what went through his head whenever he was making this video.
Speaking of money, oh Jesus, microtransactions. I'm honestly going to keep this brief because this is a dead horse at this point.
It is.
But this shit is getting way too greedy. Like, I think Halo Infinite's the perfect example of this yet again, but I'd like to speak generally. $20 for a skin in a video game, that is too much. I don't care.
No, it's not. I don't have a problem with that at all. I'm gonna have a hot take here. I don't give a fuck about skins in a video game. I don't care. The only thing I don't like, because you spend the money, you get what you spent the money for. You don't like it, don't buy it. Problem solved.
How you spin it.
No
I don't
RNG.
care if the game's free. I don't care how good the skin is. That is too much.
Don't care.
I think 5 at most is a decent price for a skin in a game.
Sure.
But 20.
$5.
That's
Sadly, they're not paying for the quality product, but they are paying for the little, here's a skin that makes you look like you're a zombie guy, or, here's a skin that your eyes glow blue, or here's a skin, your weapon is now green. Like, how much work do you think that actually takes? Honestly. You just name a couple of panels on the gun that you're always going to change with colors. You set up it once to change scale in the tech so that you can actually change it in these little parts on these, frames of the fucking gun itself, and then you just, here's a red one. Oh, 2 weeks later, a month later, here's the green one. The purple one you can get, but you gotta do this during the week to get it and get this. It's just like, it's, they're saving money and making more money. They're being economically optimized, which is basically just wringing out the fucking rag, twisting it and twisting it, and getting every drop out of that. And the rag represents the customer base, the player base. you know? And I mean, that's what the focus is, not is the content done? Is it good? It doesn't matter if the hat that you buy is 70 cents or it's $3,000. It's the fact that you're putting effort into something rather than releasing a finished, bug-free, highly good product. I mean, if they were smart, they would release the good product, and then as soon as they got the thing released, with every piece of DLC, they'd throw in some little microtransaction things you can buy. That way, you earn the good favor of the people, and then as you go through, because you have the good favor of the people and you're continuing forward with making quality content with map packs or DLC for the story or whatever it is, you can throw in those little microtransactions and make your little bit of extra scratch. But you gotta, it's a give and take. And right now, the corporate mindset is take. Oh fuck, okay, we took too much. Now we look like shit. Okay, we're gonna have to take a break for 2 years. I can economically handle it. All you guys, you lose your jobs. Mass layoffs. Okay, see ya. We'll come back in 2 years. We'll have a new team and we'll do a new project. If that guy doesn't do good, I'll fire him and I'll ruin his life with reputation and the people that I know and the pull that I have. It's, corporatization and an economic fealty to that corporatization is the issue, not the exact price. But I can understand how this could be upsetting if you really gave a shit about the cosmetics or whatever.
Too far. Games like Fortnite have done this for years, and even back then, back when I was playing Fortnite like everyone else in the world was, I never bought skins because that's just too much. You could buy an indie game with that price. Isn't that crazy to you? You could buy...
No, it is. It's definitely fucking, somebody says, so you? No, there's no so me. Nope. You try to do that fucking extrapolating my logic to a stupid conclusion, you're gonna get banned. You're out. I see in the ban appeals. So, yeah, definitely, this shit happens where, you do think, whenever you're spending $25 to buy a skin, you think, I could just buy a whole other video game for this price. He's right about this. And I do think the skins have ridiculous prices, but I'm not going to complain about them because there are so many other problems with the games and with gaming that is more important than an overpriced skin. I think gaming simulating gambling and then advertising it towards children via loot boxes and video games releasing unfinished, these are actual problems. Skin prices are not real problems. This doesn't actually matter.
Buy a video game for the price of a virtual skin. A virtual outfit for your character costs as much as an entire experience.
Yeah.
Usually better than the game you're currently playing.
I mean, you use this a lot. The thing is, he said $5 is okay for a skin. You buy a lot of good games for $5, man. You humble bundle the shit out of that. You can get plenty of games for $5. So you can apply that logic to any price point.
That's true, but you have to keep in mind that, once again, it's allocation of work resources. It's not necessarily the price. it just shows that they're super gouging you, because the amount of effort it takes to do something like that. If you have any idea on, like, you've played at all in Forge or something, you could release a new map just by like giving a 16-year-old teenage kid $100 a month. Well, maybe you give him more than that. You give him $500 a month, and all he has to do is just go into Forge and make new maps. I guarantee you, 60% of them are going to be shit, but he'll be banging out things like that. And then when you go ahead and you release a game and it's like, here's your map, and it's like you got six, or here's your maps, you got like 6 of them. How long were you guys in development of this? Oh, we're doing 6 years. 6 years. 6 years. Huh. That's a bit of time, don't you think? Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's whatever. It's like, dude, no. You could have like 50 maps on launch. They wouldn't be all like premium god mode, but it's like you can have your premium god mode. You have 8 premium god mode, and then you can have like 47 just like, all right, mess around, fuck around maps. And if people bitch about them, they're like, hey, these are, or just hold a contest. There you go. Hold a contest and say, you guys make these maps. You give them to us. We take a look at them. We put the ones that we vote are the best or the, coolest and stuff. That's what we do, and we hold a YouTube show, which gives us popularity and keeps us in the minds of you. And then we take the maps, we put them into the game. You guys play with them, and if you guys don't like them, we'll hold a monthly vote of if you want to vote anything out or you want to vote, something more in. And you can just go and do that. Why not? Way more content. Plus, you're more in the minds of the community. Plus, you're more engaged with the community. Why? That's because that's from a gamer's mind state. Like, that's my mind state. It's not a corporate dude who's like, yeah, but if we release 50 for $0, imagine what we could release 4 for. If we make it really nice and we say it's a $30 expansion pack for your fucking 5 maps. It's like, dude, get the hell out of here, So, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I just don't think it's run properly.
Anyway,
Like Vampire
pay to
Survivors.
win might not be an issue anymore,
example.
but just these cosmetics, they're getting ridiculous in how much they cost, and they're just not even good half the time. Look at Call of Duty's bundles, these look like shit to me, and people...
I mean, I'm gonna be real, like, this does look like absolute shit. Like, what the fuck does that, like, that is the dumbest, ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know whoever made that. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but whoever it was a bad idea, and whoever told you it was a good idea lied to you. That was a mistake. You should not have done that. It does not look good.
Buy this stuff? Really?
It's awful.
Have you nothing better to spend your money on? Like, really? Look at this attack on...
I think this looks cool. I'm gonna be honest. I actually think this looks really cool. The other one looks stupid. This one looks cool.
Titan bundle. This is fucking awful.
It's so
And
bad.
this shit costs like $20. Jesus Christ, is this the best you can do?
No, yeah.
And I think Call of Duty...
I guess maybe I think it looks good because it just got compared to that Call of Duty one. That Call of Duty one was a joke. That shit was awful. So, like, whenever I saw the Attack on Titan one, I was like, it's not that bad. But, like, yeah, I can see how, like, yeah, that one kind of sucks, too.
gets it the worst,
I don't
but
think
it's
it's
not
that
only
bad.
are
I
the
don't think that one's
bundles
so bad.
probably the worst out of all other free-to-play games, but the games aren't even technically free-to-play. Warzone might be free-to-play, but the
Yeah, it is.
multiplayer for stuff like Vanguard and Modern Warfare still...
You got to keep in mind, like, Warzone, there are certain things in Warzone that you don't really, like, isn't it, like, I remember I bought Warzone for, like, Forge options or something like that. So, like, it's free to play, but, like, there are advantages that you get for buying the game. I think overall the game is fair, though.
costs money, and they're still expecting you to buy all these cosmetics on top of that. If you bought Modern Warfare and bought 5 skin packs, that's like 160 bucks. Think of that for a minute, 160 bucks, that's like the price of a PS4 at the minute. But I feel like I need to move on. I feel like I've just been ranting this whole time about how I don't like the modern gaming standards. I need to talk positively. Let's be honest, I've heard you screaming this down your mic. Martin, it's the best game in decades, it's a masterpiece, it's easily Game of the Year. You need to talk about it positively, and you need to explain why it's going to hold gaming standards for years to come. And I agree. I 100% agree. You heard it here first, folks. Grand Theft Auto 5, expanded and enhanced, is Game of the Year, without discussion. This is undeniable proof that gaming is apex at this point. Never before have you been able to play a game seamlessly at 60 frames per second with ray tracing. Yes, okay, the ray tracing is like barely noticeable, but it is there. It is there.
I can't tell.
60 frames per second.
Wow, 60?
Beautiful graphics.
That's a lot.
This is unbelievable. Rockstar
this?
have outdone themselves yet again by crafting the most immersive experience ever before seen.
Wow.
Oh wait, this is just the PC version. Hang on, let me show gameplay of expanded and enhanced just so I can show you how massive this jump is.
Okay.
Oh.
What the fuck is this? Whoa, bro, was that just a back alley full of crackheads?
You know, I wasn't actually wrong.
Wait, yeah?
This is kind
I mean, he makes a good point with this kind of like reference here. It's like, it's been a long time since the last Grand Theft Auto game. What the fuck is going on, dude? Like, you know, it looks even better than before. It's like, dude, it's like it's the same thing with Skyrim. It's like, bro, you're chasing, you know, imaginary ghosts. Like, it's like no, just release the next one and shut the fuck up. Such a dork.
of gonna hold the standard for years to come. This is fucking pathetic. I can't even say anything. This is just pathetic. Rockstar have outdone themselves and continue to do so. Just now, GTA Plus. GTA Plus. This is fucking robbery. This isn't even a deal. You get 500k a month for like $8, and that's the selling point of this. But let me just put that in perspective for just a moment.
Yeah?
PlayStation users used to get 1 million a month before Expanded and Enhanced came out. And what can you actually buy in the game with 500k? A fucking SUV, a couple guns, the shittiest business? Is this it, Rockstar? Half your content costs over like 2 million. Why are you not giving that money out to people who are paying extra for your...
Well, what do you mean? That would make it pay to win, though, right? I mean, if you could just spend money and they just give you money in the game, like, I don't know, man.
That's literally in the game. You go up to these little terminals, you open the store, and you can literally do that. Like, that's in the fucking game. Like, you can do that already. It's already like that.
That sounds like that's just pay to win. Like, what the fuck?
New shitty subscription service? Why do you continue to taint the reputation of a game you made 9 years ago that is unanimously seen as one of the best open world games of all time by continuing to milk the fuck out of its shitty ass online mode?
I feel like if he doesn't bring up Skyrim at this point, he's being biased.
It's ridiculous. It's extremely disrespectful to
yeah,
your brand
come on.
as well. Grand Theft Auto is like the pinnacle of gaming. Most people agree that. There hasn't been a bad GTA game, at least a mainline one, ever made probably. And yet, you guys still fuck it up so badly. Red Dead Online is a corpse at this point. Red Dead 2 received unanimous acclaim from like everyone for being...
I actually wanted to play that game. I bought Red Dead Redemption 2, I never played it.
amazing story and
I
all
got it
that.
with my
I haven't
PS4 whenever I
personally
bought it.
finished it. But you guys just let its online mode die like that just because it wasn't making as much money? And it's rock.
That's exactly why they let it die. Like, that is, I'm gonna say, like, right now, like, that is 100% why they let it die. It wasn't making a lot of money. They had to pay for server space for that shit. They said, fuck it.
Star we're talking about? Rockstar are doing this? If that doesn't show you...
I remember, the only thing I remember from Red Dead Redemption 2 is there was this dude that would make YouTube videos where he would kidnap, like, women's right activists in Red Dead Redemption 2, and he would fucking lasso him and tie him to his horse and drag him over to where the crocodiles are and feed him to the crocodiles. And he made videos of this, and eventually, like, fucking YouTube banned him because, like, all the comments were just like, man, I wish this would happen in real life. And like, all these fucking crazy people that were typing this shit up. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
You know how sad this industry's gotten? I don't know what will. I guess to conclude, you guys need to stop defending this stuff. Look at what's actually coming out at the minute and tell me that you're excited for the future of gaming.
Okay.
We have a couple great games coming out. I'm sure that Breath of the Wild 2 will be great, and I'm sure God of War Ragnarok will be fantastic.
Side note, Breath of the Wild 2, let's have a different system with the weapons and shit. I hate having a weapon. Little blue sparks, and then I have to go and get a new weapon and then beat them with that. It's like, bro, fuck off. That is trying to be too Dark Souls. If you want like an, games journalist type of speak, don't do it, okay? It's a bad choice. Just have them in there if you want them to have durability, and if you don't fix them, and when they get into a red position of like durability, if you use them, they can break. You want to do that? Fine, no problem, but don't do this shit. It's fucked. It's fucking stupid. Plus, they break really fast too. It's not like it takes a long time.
But when I say that my most anticipated game at the moment is Sonic Frontiers, a game I am absolutely convinced will be fucking dog shit based on Forces, that is not a good sign.
I feel like Sonic Frontiers was pretty good. Like, a lot of the people liked Sonic Frontiers. Am I crazy? Yeah. Like, I plan on playing it.
A good sign at all.
Once again, hadn't come out at this point for the person making the video, so I don't know. It's like, well, yeah, he thought it would be bad because look at what he is seeing from his point of view. I mean, from this point of view where we're at, I mean, there's another God of War that kicks ass out. There's a bunch of games that are out that are actually pretty good. And, it's not that all of them are bad. It's just that most of them are bad. But yeah.
Stop defending companies that milk you dry and stand up for once. Stand up to this oppressive, greedy bullshit.
I'm gonna say, like, right now, like, this is 100% like internet chest beating. Nothing about this is gonna happen. Like, it doesn't matter how many YouTube video essays people put out. Until the normies stop spending money on this shit, or it's like against the law, then it's not going to stop. Because
this is sadly true.
These companies, all they want to do is make money. And people keep buying them. You think FIFA does it? You think they release Ultimate Team because people don't like it? No, they release it because they do. It's just you don't see those people because they're just sitting there. They're playing on their Xbox Series S or whatever the fuck it is, and they never go on the internet to complain about the game.
And maybe we'll see a difference in this industry. And that's all I have to say, I guess. I don't know what else I can honestly add to this.
Yeah, I mean,
People are
it's
talking
sad,
about it
but
all
there
the
it
time,
is.
but no one's making a difference. Personally, I've refused to buy a game that's over $60, and I don't buy any microtransactions. I didn't buy GTA Expanded and Enhanced, and I just
I
don't.
think that's good. Like, if you don't like the way gaming is, you should not support it. Like, that's the smartest thing to do, because like if you don't like it and you still buy into it, then it's like nothing's gonna change. But the reality is that I'm not gonna tell people don't buy a video game. Like, if you want to buy the video game, then just buy it. Like, you know, you don't, like, your life doesn't have to be a what's the word for it? Your life doesn't have to be a statement. You just play a video game. It's not. It is just a game, you know.
Want to buy any more modern video
It's not
games
Crusade,
until
yeah.
they're good. I will buy modern games. I bought Elden Ring, I bought Dying Light 2, but those games were both finished. I didn't buy Vanguard because it might get good in the future. I didn't buy Battlefield, and I most certainly will not be buying more unfinished games, because until games are releasing in a good state, I don't see a point in playing them. Why play a game that's shit? If it's not fun, why play it? Think of all the
I think that's true, but there's also true that some shit games are fun.
classics that you could be playing right now. Some of you guys
I don't know if I entirely agree with Asmon on that. Just based on the definition of a shit game, for you to classify a game as shit, usually, more often than not, it has to not coincide with being fun. This isn't always the case, I understand, but I just wanted to say that. I mean, I understand there's outliers and stuff, you know, but, you know, usually when a game is shit, it's kind of all around shit. And there might be a couple of aspects to it that you like, that you wish, you know, weren't attached to such a shitty game, but, you know, that doesn't change the reality that it's a shitty game. You know, like if I throw a, you know, a rose petal on a piece of dog shit and tell you to sniff it, you know, are you gonna go in for a sniff? I mean, it's not all dog shit. There's a rose petal there. You know, it's, I don't know if that's that strong of an argument. I'm just gonna say that.
haven't played GTA 4 or the Metal Gear series, and you're telling me you're putting your time into Vanguard? You gotta change that right away. Get a PC or buy some old consoles and just start playing some of the classics until gaming gets better. That's my personal advice. And if you want to continue playing Vanguard, stuff like that, I can't stop you, obviously. What I can tell you is that one day your wallet's probably going to run out of money, and you're going to be left with a bunch of shitty Tracer bundles for your Vanguard character, and a bunch of armor sets for Halo Infinite, a game that's already dead after a couple months of release.
He's so mad.
I didn't even
This
talk
is so
about
funny.
stuff like the Definitive Edition or Cyberpunk in this video, because that's just not even worth discussing. Those games are embarrassments in their own right. But until we see a change in the industry, I'm going to keep my expectations for games extremely low.
I think that's good to do. Yeah, don't have high expectations. Wait for reviews. Give it a couple of weeks before it comes out, and if it's looking good, then play it.
And I suggest you do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Let me link you guys a video. There should be independent consumer-focused label that certify games are finished, has fair monetization, and live up to good gaming standards. Here's the problem with that, though, is like, anytime that you have that, let me link you guys a video right there. Anytime you guys have that, like, there's always a way that, you know, these companies, they get into it and they make it worse. You know what I mean? And it's just, why would somebody listen to them? You can never trust a person to always make the right decisions. It's just, there's a lot of reasons why things fall apart that way. Yeah, make the game good on release. Yeah, it's super subjective too. It's like, because some people are going to say it's good, some people aren't. Like, it's very hard to say. Let me watch this.